So we're going to start looking at the methodology of doing ethical hacking. We'll look at the steps in the system, starting with reconnaissance, then going to footprinting and other forms of information gathering. And we'll talk about some countermeasures you can take to try to prevent this. Right? Just different scenarios here for modes of ethical hacking. So you may be asked to actually simulate a particular type of attack or an attack, right? Either the insider or the unstructured outsider, right? Over the internet, or a stolen equipment attack. In my organization, some of the worst cases that we've had of a disclosure of information, social security numbers, medical information, have been from stolen laptops, mostly from professors and other people who've had them in locations they weren't encrypted, but they were, taken from that location. Or people have been in hotel rooms, restaurants, or other places. Sometimes they've just momentarily forgotten their laptop, and then they go back into the, restaurant, and the laptop is gone. Or they left it on a train or a plane, and what you do. Those are where your big disclosures have come from. Physical entry, yes, occasionally we have people. They haven't had to do a lot to break into our locations. Usually what they'll do is just come into an area the public comes into during the day, hide out in the bathroom or someplace, wait till everybody goes home, and then they go and test the doorknob, see what offices they can get into. They see a laptop on the table there, boom, take it away. Other times, laptops are actually stolen by people on the inside. We had grad students that were stealing them. We've had cleaning people. We've had security guards. They're supposed to be watching the place who stole, not only laptops, but they've stolen desktops from places before. I always say a desktop is a mobile device. It just requires a little more effort, right? Sometimes two people to carry it, or one to hold the door. Bypass authentication attacks using wireless or wired networks, right? And then social engineering attacks. So we've got the physical and the social engineering, which go around the normal, IT methods of hacking. Our rules for engagement once before. What are you authorized to do? What limitations are placed on you and requirements to notify people or to schedule, your scans? And what is the mission for this particular engagement? What are they looking for out of this security testing, security vulnerability or network penetration, et cetera? What outcomes do they want? Usually what they want is for you to tell them they're secure. Nobody's completely secure, so usually you'll find some things. They want to know that they're reasonably secure, right? That they're not negligent, they're not going to be in trouble. What's your budget? What tests are going to be performed? So these are all ways to get a sizing, a scaling, and a scoping of the engagement, right? How long is this going to take? How much money is it going to take? How many people are we going to need to do this? Can one person do this, or are we going to need a team? Who should be the members of the team? When are our working hours? Because if we're limited to certain hours at night to do this, it's going to take us a longer time. Or we have to stay up at nights to do this, right? How much time will they commit? Are we going to notify insiders or not? Are we going to notify customers or not? So this depends on whether we're doing this covertly or we're going to be completely open and above board. What does covertly mean? We're not telling anybody, right? We're going to start doing testing, but we're not informing the system administrators, the network people, or anybody else at the company. Now, usually there should be at least some people at the company that know, because I don't want to be thrown in jail. I need somebody to contact. If somebody starts calling the police on me and I say, here's my get out of jail free card, contact this person, and they'll tell you we're authorized to do this. And I got it in writing, right? How far does the test proceed? Are we allowed to root the box? Can we gain a prompt or attempt to retrieve another PII, such as the CEO's password, right? I'm not going to upset people if I do this, right? Am I allowed to go after any information in the database? Who do I contact if somebody goes wrong? That should be in my get out of jail free card. Point of contact. What are the deliverables? Do they want me to try to capture the flag? Capture the flag means, can I find social security numbers? Can I find their financials? Can I find internal confidential documents? Right? I've done all these things. What outcome is management seeking? So do they really want to know what the internal state of the network is? Or do they just want somebody to bless them and say, yes, you're secure? Different people have different reasons for bringing in an assessment or an audit. Here's our steps, once again, of the hacking methodology. And we see them broken down into the 6 steps here. The major phases of our scanning and system hacking. So first we do the pre-attack reconnaissance. We just want to try to find as much information about that target as possible. Where's the best place to go? Go on the internet. Go on Google. And also you can go in some specialized resources. If you're willing to pay, you can get all kinds of business intelligence. You can look up companies and databases if you're willing to pay for it, and they'll tell you all kinds of stuff about companies. Yep. Those are great sources, but it's going to cost you a little bit of money. Not a lot of money. You can also go on some free sites like SEC Edgar. You know, Edgar keeps all of the reports that public companies have to file with the U.S. government, and they'll tell you all the financials, who the officers are, and they'll give you all of the profit and loss statements, etc. Great stuff. Other recon would be the networking information, right? Trying to find their IP address range, finding live machines. So some of this is going into scanning and intrusive detection, then scanning the ports, then doing OS identification, right? Is it a Windows machine? Is it a Linux? Is it a Mac? Then, you know, determining which services are at the ports. Just because something is listening at a port doesn't mean that it's actually the service that you think is running there. And it could be a specific version of that software, right? And then you can blueprint the network. That is, find out how the machines are connected, what routers are between them, what IP addresses are in use. Footprinting is, you know, looking for vulnerabilities and weaknesses by using DNS queries, network enumeration, you know, a whole variety of network queries and OSID, etc. This is to learn as much about a system or a network as possible and its remote access capabilities. You'll see that in this preparatory stage, typically about 10% of the time of the entire engagement should be spent here. Now, some amount of time is actually spent negotiating the contract, meeting with the customer, deciding on the rules for engagement, you know, negotiating over the contract, and building in things such as your written authorization, your get out of free card, your points of contact, all of that stuff that you exchange. And then doing the project management that's necessary to plan the project, right? Who are the team members going to be? When are we going to go on site? What are the different phases of the project? What weeks are they going to be, etc. And how much time is all this going to take? Then we have this footprinting phase, another 10%. We're also going to do some active scanning. We may go on site. We may do things from their local network or their local machines. Then we're going to come back and do analysis, derive conclusions, and write up a report. And we may be asked to present that report. So here we're using a tool called SolarWinds. Right? It has a DNS tool inside it. And we're looking up host names and getting IP addresses. You can also do the reverse. You can plug in an IP address and click on look up host name. And I'll give you the host name as well. This shows us, you know, doing a ping against that same host, what we get back from it. It's also doing the who is information on the domain or IP address as well.